IVM.
If you are one of those show-offy people who love to tell people something that they don't know, then you should check out Simplified. It's a podcast where Chuck, Navin and Shrikate take complex subjects and try to simplify it for you in their own twisted way. New episodes are out on the IVM podcast website, app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
You're listening to Keeping It Queer with Navin Narona.
Hello and welcome to Keeping It Queer, the All Things Queer podcast. I'm Navin Narona, your host, and with me in the studio, I have Sadhna and I have Shanthi. Hi guys.
Hello. Hi.
What's up?
You have to tell.
So you're obviously Shanthi is a professional and she's already intimidating me by saying that, I'm used to this. Don't try to scare me. Let me just give you a quick introduction. Sadhna is a straight person and a practicing artist, co-founder and art director of the Aravani Art Project.
Yes.
And Shanthi identifies as transsexual. She's an artist, a poet, an activist, and also she's an RJ who's a part of a community-based radio station in Bangalore called CR 90.4 Radioactive.
Yes.
Awesome. It's radioactive.
Yes,
it's
radioactive.
all about activism.
Yep.
And all about drinking coffee and staying active.
Yep.
All right, so let's start off with your lives. Sadhna, where did you grow up? What was your life like?
I've grown up in Bombay and Pune.
Okay.
Had my education in Bangalore, Pune and London. A bit of art education from all three places.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what drove you towards art in the first place? Was it something like family influential or like...
It's not really family influential. I've been drawing since I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
So my family recognized that I did something like this and they kind of figured that, there's a career she can make out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured a college called Srishti in Bangalore, which
Nice.
they thought it would be great if I would fit in best there. So it happened in a flow, more pushed by my mother than my initiative saying
that's
I want
amazing because in India, if you know, if someone says I want to draw, they're like, what?
Yeah.
How will you earn money and how will you have
at that
surgeries?
time, I think animation was a huge thing. So my mother just you can draw, maybe you can just become an animator.
Yeah.
Which was a start point to put me in an art school, but obviously it didn't turn out that way. I didn't become an animator.
Correct.
But it was great because I at least started out. It was a great step for me there.
Awesome. Let's talk to Shanthi now. And tell us about yourself. Where was your early life, Shanthi?
Me, I was born and brought up in Bangalore. I'm a local Bangalorean. And I'm an high school dropout. I dropped out. I didn't continue my studies after 10th.
Was it studies boring or
No, it was not boring because of me being so feminine character, being born in a body where I couldn't identify myself. And people used to tease me and students and teachers used to tease me, so I couldn't concentrate on my studies. So I put an end to studies there and...
Even your teachers were
Yeah, few were.
What was the worst thing that someone said?
They're calling feminine names and I don't want to use that harsh word.
I think we should be able to use them. We embrace them as a form of, you give these harsh words to us.
Yeah, this one word, this ombattu, oh my God, is just killing me. I've heard this for 1,000 lakhs and crore times and still it's following behind me.
Umbattu is a number, no?
Yeah, it's a number 9.
Okay, so why 9?
I just don't know how people have come up with this.
Because
number 9.
in Hindi they use 6 as a way of, degrading someone.
Chakka. And down south it's 9.
Okay.
Weird.
So bring them together, it becomes 69. That's amazing if you look at it. Alright, so at what point did you decide that you also want to follow art as a passion in your life?
Art, I was at a very peak of my depression when I started art. Art is something that gave me a peace of mind. And by art, I actually got cured because this was during my SRS, which I recently done. SRS is nothing but sex reassignment surgery, which is very important to a trans person to convert, to achieve that women she always wanted.
Correct.
But this is a very painful surgery before, after, and art is something that gives me that peace of mind and just forget the pain I had.
Mm-hmm. So you basically use this as a coping mechanism in a way to fight. So how long does the whole reassignment surgery and the process last, if I may ask?
It lasted for 3-4 hours, the surgery, and the recovery took very long time because it was flooding in Bangalore at the time when I had my surgery. So my surgery, it really went bad. I got infection and
So, in India, how often would you say is it advisable to go to any of these? Because we obviously hear a lot of people go abroad and get it done. How reliable are they here?
For 10-20 years, I struggled myself to find what I was. For 6 years, I was finding difficulties. I wanted the government to do my free SRS. I was hoping for that for past 6 years, but it didn't happen. I waited for a year after. This year it may be implemented. This year it may implement, but it didn't happen at all. Finally, with the help of some of my very kind-hearted friends, it did happen.
Nice. So shout out to them for being so amazing. Yes. give them a round of applause. Yes. All right. So Sadhna, you obviously said that you also wanted to do something different with art, not the animation kind.
Yeah.
You decided to go for wall art and something more mural kind.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration behind that?
Actually, the inspiration was the founder of the Aravani Art Project, who's Purnima, is a dear friend. We met on a road trip where there were 16 creative people. We all went to Northeast. And there we had to collaborate and come up with ideas on the trip. So we had to produce art on the trip.
Like a project that was...
Yeah, no, they didn't tell us what project. So you meet the people there and you figure strengths, weaknesses, see who you can work with and do something on the trip there. You figure out local people, you figure out all your resources. So when I went there, I was a practicing illustrator till then. I knew animation, I was an illustrator, I was completely ready to be commercial and I just thought I'll go for this trip. There I met Purnima, who's been practicing mural art for I think close to 10 years now, and she said let's paint a wall together. That's when I realized my love for painting something outside and leaving it there. It's usually in a computer or on a canvas and you leave it back home. It's completely different when it's very like I don't know how to express it. It was all the energy just goes onto the wall. It's all positive and you leave just positivity back.
And because it's a public place, everybody sees it. It's not
everybody
like it's not
sees
confined
it.
in an exhibition.
Everybody sees it. Everybody paints with you. It's not yours. It's everybody's, because it stays back. So it has to be the local people, what they want to see. I can't just do what I want to do and move away.
And that was a great move because in a lot of Bangalore and Mumbai, parts that were dirty, people spent all the energy, like they could come together as a group, as communities to clear up the streets and paint the walls, and then like at least that way people won't spit on it. That's the hope, right? So was that the initial inclination towards that, to beautify your neighborhood and stuff like that?
We started it to when we painted in Kohima, we started it to we recognized these certain things Kohima stands for, and we thought that should be out on the walls because it's such a beautiful place and so less explored.
This is in Northeast again.
Yes. So we thought we'll do their favorites, which is a hornbill, and we painted an entire ceiling of hornbills.
Nice.
So and it's a famous point where people stare and look at the entire Kohima. So when they come there, they have something to remember that they've come here, and there's like a logo or a symbol of that area. So that's the reason we collaborated and did this piece. And we collaborated with local artists who are very keen that they wanted to showcase their logo and what their city or place stands for on the wall.
So obviously from there, Aravani then focused towards getting involved with the trans community.
And so that was my first experience with a wall painting. Purnima has been working on a documentary with transgender since for the last 3 years before I met her. And she was assisting a director from London make a documentary on them. In this process, she got so close to them that she just didn't want to take away from them and just leave. She was thinking of ways she could give back to them. And something she knew best was wall art. And something I was loving that time was wall art. So when she shared this idea with me that she wanted to start something like this, I was completely on board. I said, let's start with a logo. And since I was completely commercial, then I was like, we need to have a logo, we need to have an identity where people know that it's us. So that's how we started. I created the logo and she's like, okay, let's just do our first painting in Bangalore. And a bunch of friends, all of us just flew down to Bangalore. We were like, let's just do this painting together. So there, she knew already a bunch of people. So we took their help. And do you know Raza's work?
No.
The painter. So his work is basically simple shapes, geometric shapes and bright colors. So we took inspiration from his work because it's easier for people who've not painted before to paint simple shapes. If I give them something really complicated or text or something, they'll be like, okay, I don't want to do it. I just want people
back to spitting on the walls and create more patterns.
I just wanted them to come and be like, oh, blue. And something, trans people love color. And that is something we wanted to stick to. I did not want to mix color and make something light and give it to them. I wanted it to stand out as much as it could. Very bold. So we had a bunch of our friends and a bunch of transgenders, and we put one friend and one transgender together. So conversations start, and we just stood behind to see what was happening, and it was amazing.
So basically conversations and art unfold in our same That's beautiful. So what was the introduction with Shanthi? Did you all meet there, or how was it back then?
Oh.
I like how both of them exchanging those glances now.
I met the director Purnima at Kids Mandi. It was the art festival there, Art Festival. So before that, I was looking up updates on the Facebook. So suddenly I got this thing called Aravani Art Project. Aravani is something that's related to transgender. So when I took a
What's the reference here? Like, is that a word that...
Yeah, it's a word. Aravan is a god, and Aravani are follower of
Lord Aravan.
Lord Aravan.
Okay.
And then I clicked onto the page. The second thing that got interested me was transgender people being inclusive in this project, in this art project. And also artists, this graffiti or wall art is something that is very foreign-y, not India. I wonder whether it's happening in India or not. So I called Purnima and we met at Kids Mandi. And that's how I met them.
So now I have a twofold question, mainly because you all both have been in Bangalore for a decent amount of time, and I've spoken to many people from Bombay and from Delhi. While they say that the culture is fairly open towards the queer population in general, you coming from a straight person's perspective, how was it for you to basically to gel with the fact that trans people also have their individualistic lifestyles and this is how they live, and Shanthi, for you, how was it for you to understand the fact that there are allies out there who actually are ready to help out?
I think this was something amazing, because we transgender, India is a place where transgender there is tolerance for the trans people. But again, accepting them is, if you're a transgender, just stay over there, don't come, don't cross the borderline. And this project is something that's very inclusive to a transgender. And these are very few people who are doing this. I really felt very happy and proud for them.
So otherwise, the climate in Bangalore for trans community, is it as tension-filled as other parts of the country?
No, it's all over the world, I think, because trans community or the queer community is not so acceptable so easily, because being a very minute among the minute community, it's really...
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously some amount of hate even within the community if you look at it. Would you believe, if you go to a dating profile site, then you'll see people clearly write no trans and no femmes and no fatties or no, so they have all these requirements based on who they want to sleep with, and I think that's obviously putting a barrier right there, because you're shutting away somebody who's a part of your community, who has a more visible struggle, because they have to adhere to the looks that they want to have. Correct. And still people will judge you for that, right?
Yep.
So I think Bangalore still has a little bit of a temperament.
No, there is a little change. Previously, 10 years back, when you look after, when I want to cross a road or to catch a bus also, people used to stare at me and they used to throw stones at me and tomatoes at me, and they used to yell.
Was it that brutal?
Yeah, it was that bullying 10 years back. Lucky now, the neighborhood where I'm staying, they all love me for who I am.
So wouldn't anybody come to defend you if that happened to you on the street?
When
back 10 years ago?
No, there was no one to help me out.
Okay.
People were just watching, we were just dogs on the street.
Okay.
It was so horrifying.
So would you prefer walking alone, or you would have somebody with you to
Yes. We were with a group of trans people. We couldn't go alone at all.
It's just how even women in India have to think twice about getting out, because you never know how this toxic masculinity will take hold of you. So Sadhna, as I was asking, how was it for you then, from that perspective to get into this?
I've had a bunch of friends. All my close friends are queer or gay or something. So I didn't approach it in a way where I was I'm going to help someone who needs my help, or I'm going to find their problems and solve it for them, and they're going to lead a happy life. It was very we became friends, and we approached it to something I love, which is art. And beyond that, I didn't think of what gender they are or where they are from. We just used to meet, we used to paint together, or we used to meet in houses and paint canvases together. We used to smoke, we used to drink, we all used to have a good time, which I generally do with people. So it wasn't that barrier at all for me.
I think everybody just calmed down and smoked pot at one point.
Yeah. It's very chill.
Everything is so much easier if you just
And also art is something that doesn't need any gender, caste or color or something like that.
But art needs marijuana sometimes.
To tone you down.
All right, so before we go into the break, I want Shanthi to tell me, give me 3 positive reasons about what a trans person's life is, how amazing it is to be a trans person sometimes. If a casual listener's now tuning in, and if he has no idea about a trans person's life, how would you say is the positive aspect of your life?
3 things. First of all, being alive is something really amazing, because you can be murdered, you can be raped, you can be stabbed, you can be slapped, dragged, pulled, all the bullshit. So being alive,
tomatoes and stones as well.
yeah. Being alive is one thing. Second thing is I'm doing something apart, something different from my community, what they are doing. Coming out without, people see us as begging or the sex work dolls, but we are not. We can do behind that.
There's so much more.
Yeah, so much more. And third thing is...
They don't get periods.
Not yet.
So that's the best.
Yeah, that's the best.
Cool. So let's take a small break now, and we'll come back and we'll talk about how you all are working with Mood Indigo to create this awareness in Bombay.
Yeah.
Cool. We're keeping it queer. I'm here with Shanthi and Sadhna.
Yeah, Hamchi Mumbai.
Shunyavan, 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 Shunyavan.
$1 billion acquisition. Another copycat startup got formed.
No, the tech world in India is surely moving double the speed of this voiceover.
Tune in to Shunya One every Tuesday to catch us talking to the smartest people we know on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Welcome back to Keeping It Queer. I'm Navin Narona. I'm here in conversation with Sadhna and Shanthi. And before we go ahead, I wanted to stress on the name Aravani Art Project. Okay, like the name is uniquely local, it's got a very Bangalore, South India twang. Who came up with the name and how was it like conceptualized?
Not Aravani. This is Aravani.
Okay, I'm saying it wrong also.
The slang, Aravani.
Aravani.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some call it as Aravani, which is weird.
There's way too many vowels in there.
Yeah. Aravani. Yeah, the followers of Lord Aravan. Sadhna will tell the story.
So basically the word is Tamil. It's a Tamilan word which is called Aravani. So like I said, when Purnima had gone for the Kuvagam festival, there's a festival that happens every year in Tamil Nadu.
Which is about?
Which is a carnival for all the transgenders. They all meet there and they all have their...
it's a proper festival.
Yeah, it's a proper festival.
Nice.
That's where she learned about Lord Aravan and that they're disciples of Lord Aravan. Correct. That's why she preferred to call it the Aravani Art Project.
So this goes back to the Dasis and all the principles about like they being followers of God. Like
so there was a lot of and transgenders followed Lord Aravan,
it's
and
a
that's
long history of
it has been from very long back. I think this has been written in Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Correct.
Yeah.
So then from there,
back.
From there since she herself is a Tamilan, she thought Aravani Art Project will be great because that's where it began for her. Where she wanted to start this project began from there. And that's the reason she kept the name.
So now, like, how big is the team and how has it expanded over the past few years?
We are a team of, like a permanent team of 5 now.
Okay.
First is Purnima, she's the director. I'm the art director. Shanthi is a documentarian and she's an artist. We have one more trans person called Priyanka, who's also a radio jockey with Shanthi. And she's also an artist. And then we have Victor, who's a visual she's studying visual anthropology, and she's helping us since the last 6 months document and document what Aravani does, and she writes a lot for us. Yeah.
She's right here in the studio with us, smiling away with the camera. Nice. Can we take a photo? So we have like a nice memory to go along with this. So obviously now, after starting it, were you all initially just focusing on being at one place in country, or like was moving always a part of it?
It was, because there's so much culture related to not even a city. In Bangalore, there is so much culture in every group that we meet that are together. They all follow different types of culture. They all have different beliefs. I and Purnima were more intrigued, and we were like, we have to go meet them, we have to go spend time with them. So our intent of every project is not to go there, be like, okay, can you make me meet 4 people, we paint and come back. We usually go there for a good we go there first and just meet them and come back, and then we come back and plan what we want to do. They are always a part of the planning because they design the wall and they design what they want to write with us.
So did you ever think about it like an outreach thing also in a way? Because as you said, like you all are working with trans persons and sometimes, as Shanthi already mentioned, there are a lot of people who are confined to begging and sex work. So would you look at a qualified person who's got a certain backup with them, or would you prefer also helping others out? Not helping, as you said, it's not a way of helping.
Actually, we've worked more with people who are into sex work and stuff.
Correct.
We get in touch with them. I mean, we just get in touch with the community and invite everybody. Again, like I said, since there's no nothing based on gender, there's nothing based on what you do.
Correct.
You come as who you are and you just paint a wall. So it's simple.
Shanthi, has it been like difficult communicating to them sometimes also, like getting through to them to tell them to come and join you on the...
Yeah, we are like a close-knit family, it's very hard to come out of it. And only few people who come out of it individually, they are the one who come out and do such things like activism and all.
Correct. But obviously there is a certain amount of, like holding back sort of.
Yeah, because we are not exposed to the mainstream society so fully.
So, like, how would you even approach this conversation? Because I'm just thinking of from a perspective of a person who's like, you want me to paint a wall, tomorrow there'll be like some amount of publicity around it. And for me, if I'm somebody who's doing all of these other things to earn my daily livelihood, how would that be a promising prospect for me to join you guys to like do this?
See, this is a fun-loving job. This is actually a very fun-loving job. You can have fun by, you can play with colors and... art is something that doesn't need any. I told you earlier only.
Correct.
It doesn't need
so
any.
So they obviously they initially are skeptical, but they always want to.
Yeah, they come with inhibition. They don't know what's happening. They see cameras and they're just looking at us. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But I think when they just start painting, it's a release of energy for them.
Correct.
They have so many things going on. You just give them a bucket of paint and say, do what you want. And you give them a space and tell them to paint it properly. And you teach them how to hold and be like, if you do this, it'll look even better. They just shift their focus to learning and to understanding what you're saying rather than think about what's going on.
It's in a way, like if your teacher could combine your go face the wall punishment with artwork.
Yeah.
So your back is against the class. You don't
that
care
would be
about
great. Yeah, that would be a great punishment.
You should start doing that with kids.
Yeah.
It's like go in your corner and start making artwork. Get you ready for this whole movement that's going on. So obviously, like now you have moved from different parts of the country to country, and which has been your most favorite memory as such?
I think my personal favorite project was Chennai.
Okay.
We went there for 2 weeks. And so the community that we painted with there stays in this place called Ernaur, which is a tsunami quarters. It's really far from the city, and it was built by Jayalalitha to support all the tsunami victims. And one entire building is where all the transgenders live. We lived with them for 10 days, and we painted a wall on one of the sides of the building as a tribute to a transgender Tara who was burnt alive.
In that community?
In Chennai, yeah.
Okay.
So there was a story behind her and she was burnt alive. They had issues with the police and stuff. So we did tribute to her. But what was special was that we just lived with them for 2 weeks, knew about them every day, little what they do. We woke up and we were pampered more than anything. I remember Purnima once was talking to her mother and she was randomly on the phone like, I just feel like having a glass of Boost today. And they ran around and made sure she had the glass of Boost in her hand in the next
Secret
5 minutes.
Of my energy.
Yeah. So we were... it was more like just friendship, like going and exploring probably a town and staying in an Airbnb. Better. This was just better. We were just going and staying with them. We wanted to know as much about them. We didn't have any... I and Purnima have no agenda when we go, like, we need to get these numbers, we need to do this, and we need to get this much documentation. In fact, of Chennai, we have the least amount of documentation of any of our projects, which is great because the conversations we had were they were so natural. There was no way anybody could sit and document and be like, let's make a movie like this on it.
Yeah.
And we met very, very interesting people in Chennai because it was the space itself was very interesting. Not only for the people from the community, generally people who are living there, they had gone through a lot, they lost their livelihood and they'd come and stayed there. Plus staying with transgenders, and each house had so much identity to who they were.
Correct.
So we did a photo series there.
And
where
they lived like multiple people in one house?
A lot of them lived together, a lot of them lived separately. And you could see their interest in their house because a lot of them are very religious. A lot of them like their house to look a certain way. It was beautiful.
Nice.
Those 2 weeks were like really
So you all
good.
obviously spend all this time documenting all of this over the past how many years now?
We're going to be 2 in January.
Okay, so is there like a eventual documentary that we can expect from this to come out?
We are not really intending to do a documentary. We never started that way. Actually, we started it as 2 passionate people who love
But there's
painting.
so much visual storytelling here is what I'm saying.
It's true.
Like
we do collaborate with a lot of photographers who want to come and capture these stories in forms of photos.
Correct.
We collaborate with them a lot. But both of us, what our strengths are painting, conversations and just like getting the community together with us. That's what we do. We don't have any quality number. We're not really focusing on that because that's not what we do. Whatever. Also, the outcome we are getting is very organic. Both of us, we're meeting people. They're our friends. So if we get projects later where we can invite them, we make sure we invite them. And we are just identifying artists who we can just take along with us wherever we both go to paint, and we can pay them. They can have another source of livelihood and not depend on anything.
So there's this financial benefits for them as well.
Yeah, for some of them, because we both get a lot of like freelance projects. That's how we've been funding a lot of these projects. So when we get a chance and there's a huge wall and 3-4 people can paint together, we just give them a call and they're free. They can come and join us.
Awesome. Yeah. So now, how did the IIT thing happen? Like now you're drawing something at IIT as well, the Modi Coco festival that happens.
Actually, we were really excited because when we got a mail from IIT, they said the mood of the festival was carnival. And so what we are capturing in the wall is the Kuvagam festival that Purnima went to, and everybody came together. So we're doing a carnival of the community and how they celebrate. So that's what we're trying to capture in the festival. Also, Mood Indigo is a festival well heard of. We were also very excited because it'll be a younger generation which will be participating. So it'll be an interesting conversation space. Even we are intrigued because usually we are painting with public, like people who are walking by and stuff. Young people who want to make a difference, we are more interested to see how it will turn out and what the conversation space will be. Because the wall is big, it's going to be across 5 days. So, and we are going to be living in IIT. So again, it's the same space. We're going to be living there. The community is going to be with us. People can come have conversations, meet us over dinner. So it's the same kind of space we're trying to create.
I think that's a very important thing to do, like tap on the young minds who are like the future engineers of the country or whatever they'll become after graduating. Like
engineers.
I'm an engineer who's doing this right now. But obviously the idea is to catch them young and tell them, the world's a better place. And let's make a better place for everybody inclusively.
And how diverse the society is.
So because even at the last Bombay Pride when I went out, I met a lot of young doctors from a lot of these medical colleges who came out and said, we want to be able to help trans people because they face the most amount of derogatory treatment there as well, where they're kept till the very end or not attended to. So as a Hippocratic oath, they have to be ready to help everybody and anybody. So I think that's an important thing, to tap on these young minds and educate them about this, or sensitize them at least to start off with. So it's a great initiative. I'm so glad that you all are doing this, and by the time this episode comes out, obviously the art will be done in IIT, and we'll probably put a picture. Not probably, we will put a picture. So thank you so much for joining us, Sadhna and Shanthi. Any final words you want to tell?
Yeah, can I recite my poetry? What I've composed?
Sure. Yeah, amazing.
The title is The Purple Cocoon. Inside the closet of the Holy Scantum, I breathe for a fresh air, counting my days of freedom in the exile. From the dusky dawn through the gloomy darkness, I weave and weave my deepest desires, which tightens into a passionate grip, binding my urge to become what I want. Unto an unknown plight, I travel through a tunnel of horror, filled with burning desires and dreams, questioning if it would reach its destiny or suffer an awful bastille. Some die, some rise to see a new light, and a few fight to rise above and shine bright, marking their existence. But many succumb to the harsh pain, eventually ending into the dungeon. Betrayed, battered, and discriminated, I rise above from the realm of burning hell, bestowing freedom upon my dove soul from the fires of extinction. Here I come out with the power ablaze that acts away those hurdles to see a colossal victory of an omen soul. I am a transgender, the color of love. I am a transgender, the power of purple. I am the rarest of the rare, more precious than a pearl. I am the purple cocoon. Don't pluck my wings and make me your slave and nip my flight, as I am born to fly, carrying the mythical beauty of femininity. I am the rarest of the rare, more precious than a pearl. I am the purple cocoon.
Ooh.
That's like...
So we also clap sometimes. I don't know. I was clapping of the poem. So great, Shanthi. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And if you go to the IIT Powai campus next time, the art will be there on the wall.
Yes.
It will be there for you to see the carnival.
Yeah. This is like we are leaving that permanent imprint on the wall.
It's like a chapa.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much again, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wow. Yes.
Don't go anywhere. The Keeping It Queer podcast will be back with the Culture Vulture segment featuring Farhad right after this break.
Over 47% of online users in India have experienced harassment at some point. So if it's two of us inside this recording studio, chances are pretty high that one of us has faced abuse at some point. How do we tackle this? What do we need to do better? Come, let's learn together. Join me on Akanksha Against Harassment at IVM Podcasts every Thursday. Let's learn how to make online a safe place together.
Alright, welcome back to Keeping It Queer, and in this segment we are doing an all new segment now, and for season 2 we decided to ramp things up, and what we are doing though is called Queer in Pop. Let's hope this name sticks. Let's see. Farhad will come up with a better name, hopefully.
I will.
So as I said, we are joined by a special guest who will be a constant throughout the season. I hope.
Hope so
I'm already
too.
booking out his calendar for the entire year. We have Farhad Karkaria.
Hi guys.
He's a dear friend.
And girls.
Yes.
And
girls.
lesbians.
And lesbians. And trans people.
All of them.
All of them.
LGBTQ and I.
And A.
Wait, what the fuck?
The asexuals.
Oh fuck, how did I forget them?
Yeah.
I'm heading there, so I should know the A's. Yeah.
Me too, man. I feel I'm very close in that
I'm
territory.
sexless.
So basically, before we will start the segment, tell us a little bit about yourself, your life. Where to begin?
Yeah, does that sound capture it? Like, where am I in life?
No, we'll have a voiceover on top of this. He let out a deep sigh.
Yeah, I'm queer, very. I like to identify. What? Should I be saying that? Yeah, I don't know what I identify as anymore. I'm on Grindr and Tinder a lot, but it doesn't help. What do? I love, I'm like a social media manager, mostly. Not very proud saying that because it's a very fucking annoying job. Yeah, I'm also a part-time chef.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
One of the better restaurants in Bombay, if I may say so myself.
Well, Zomato agrees, but like, yeah, it's fun. It's not I actually love cooking Parsi and Goan food.
Nice.
But I've been making some Berlin street food lately. So quick Malzite plug-in. Please go eat there.
Yeah, sure. They have the best hot dogs and sausages.
Doner kebabs.
Doner kebabs and bratwurst.
Yeah.
It's the best. Nothing like a German sausage. If you ask me.
Doner boners.
Doner boners. So yeah, I intend to have this segment mainly as like a letting steam off sort of thing.
Okay.
We'll talk about gay life, we'll talk about culture and what we like generally watching and enjoying experience-wise. Because we have so much pop culture happening on the side, which we kind of like do not...
More now than ever.
And we disregard
and now
that
it's
sometimes.
done sensibly. Like,
Exactly.
if you looked like 10, 15 years ago, your options are queer as folk. Which, if you watch now, you feel like this doesn't happen.
But they tried. Like, at least around that time, there was nobody doing it, so they at least made an attempt.
I don't know about you. I just used it to jack off. Because, you know, it's like... it was a little porn. It was more more focused on the sex side of it and how gay guys are always ready to go at it. Whereas then later on a show like Looking comes around and, you know, actually deals with the complexities of like gays on the back foot, but like how do open relationships work? How do aspirations being a gay person, what sort of like things you face, what sort of obstacles you face.
So Will and Grace also, do you think, came out at the right time?
Yeah, but you know what? Will and Grace has come back.
Correct, yeah.
And I've been watching it. And the only interesting thing I like about that is now they are focusing a lot about them having aged, which is important, I feel.
Yeah.
But the humor is not there anymore. I don't know if I'm supposed to trash shows also.
That's okay. You can do whatever you want over here.
Great. So I watched the first 3-4 episodes. I was like really... because I always found it a very loud show and I always thought it shouldn't be Will and Grace, it should be Jack and Karen because I thought they were the highlights.
They were the highlights,
Yeah, I used to like that.
And like growing up, I always thought because the posters featured them more than Will and Grace.
Totally.
Yeah, so then I was like, maybe they are the...
No, and that's the thing, even when I heard the news was out that they were coming back, I thought, oh, let me go back because it was such a big part of my life back then.
Yeah.
I couldn't sit beyond 2-3 episodes because Deborah Messing was so fucking loud and irritating and like, you know, they scream everything out and like, it's very camp humor, I felt. they've come back again. I like the part that now their problems are more like, oh, Will is older and Jack is older. How are they dealing with, like, if you still want a twink at fucking 40, what do you do, right? Because we all go through that all the time. So in that sense, I like it. I just watch it if I'm cooking and I don't have to stare at a screen. Will and Grace is running in the background, but it's become one of those shows.
That is a real issue though. Like, aging as a gay man, I don't know, like, do you ever think about that? Like, when at 40, what will...
Oh my God, I live it. I live it all the time. I'm 33 now, and I can already imagine how tough it must be, because I feel we grew up in a time where we could... I don't know about other people, I might be talking for other people, but I was always openly out in gay and experimenting. People my age, I never like really went... But I talked to a lot of friends, and I feel like so many of them who eventually took time to come out later, they are stuck in this, oh, I want something younger. I guess I should have called it a Michael Jackson syndrome type thing. But, they never had that sort of... we have Grindr, Tinder, whatever, so many ways. Even fucking Instagram nowadays. I hooked up with someone over a YouTube comment section recently. I hooked up with someone over fucking Goodreads. So, you know what I mean?
That's like the intellectual crowd.
It was a good one. It's a great place to hook up, guys. I'm not kidding. If you hook up with someone on Goodreads, they are a keeper.
Do you use poetry to like...
No, he wrote a very interesting review, and I got in touch with him. I said, I liked your review. He said, I liked your profile picture. That was pretty much it.
Nice. To the point.
And he's a keeper. He's like a really good fuck buddy now.
A bookkeeper too.
Yeah. So, where were we?
A lot of things have been said since then.
I just rambled on.
Like, what goes on with you as a 33-year-old man?
It's tough. Sometimes I constantly... The thing is, I'm at a point where I question what I want in a relationship, right? And now I'm ready for the real shit, right? I want to get beyond that 3-4 months of boredom. I understand love is not something that's, oh, life is beautiful, it's amazing. Yeah. I want something real. I want real fights. I don't want basic fights. I want, like, you know what I mean? I don't want, like,
a basic fight.
A basic fight. Why didn't you text me? Where are you? Why are you hanging out there? Why are you on Grindr? Why are you not in an open
dating app profile? Because I like admiration.
And again, like, larger concepts, more evolved concepts of open relationships. Not that something I've tried in the past, I failed miserably, but, like, it's definitely something I want to try out.
But you're right when you said that the older generation lost out on a lot of this, what we have right now.
And they try to make up for it now.
Yeah, the easybility of it is that we all have fuck buddies now. We all have, like...
Oh my God. And you just keep shuffling them.
Keep shuffling
like, them. Tinder them in real life.
Exactly.
Like,
Turn them around. And we spoke to a lot of people in the first season as well, where they spoke about the early experiences. Like Sridhar Rangan, he's a filmmaker, spoke about how the stations and the toilets that used to run back in the 80s.
Oh my God.
And people used to go and hook up there, and somebody called the Geek Queen would show
Have you read Murder in Mahim by Jerry Pinto?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's not a very old... It's, in fact, 2017. Wrote it recently. I love Jerry Pinto. He's absolutely written one of my...
And the Big Home,
one of my top 3 favorite all-time, hands-down novels. I have a signed copy. Thanks, Jerry, for that. But... I did not enjoy Murder in Mahim so much. It was like a very potboiler but a lot of it revolves around how sex was so seedy and like underground, and like it was hidden. Yeah, back alleys, basically the Mahim toilet in this case. But
one has to actually go through Mahim to understand what we're talking about right now in context.
Man, I'm not kidding. I could tell you an entirely different story about what I saw on a platform station bathroom once, but let's save that for some other time.
That's why this podcast is existing. Go on.
So it started with me having food poisoning.
Always a great start.
I was dating a total asshole chick back then, and I had to basically go watch Avatar with a few friends, and she was like, no, you have to spend time with me. So I told my friends that, hey, do this thing, I'll go for dinner with her, and then you give me a call. And say you have to come back to work. And I will say, oh, I have to go back to work, so bye. And we went to Stomach in Linking Road. Do not eat there.
Exactly. Don't
eat at Malzite. Do not eat at Stomach.
I can vouch for that. This is the worst. The tissue paper is basically plastic.
And of all the things I could order, I ordered something in Shellfish and I ate it, and I'm not kidding. I said bye to her. I was on my way to watch Avatar, and by the time I reached Bandra station, I sneezed and I sharted a bit. So I was like, okay, I think I just sharted, but I guess it's fine. Then I got onto the train, and by the time I was in Mahim, I thought I was ready to explode. And I held it in till Grant Road, and then I got down at Grant Road thinking that I need to. So I went to the Grant Road bathroom on the platform, and I saw... should I?
In your head.
Should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know why. I saw two old men who I think were just getting done from work and going back home, but they both were getting blown by a guy who was sitting. He was getting what turned me off by that particular scenario was while he was on his knees blowing those two guys, his hands are on the urinal stalls. Okay. Like he was clutching that, and I'm a little a little bit
germophobic.
Oh man, I again did not take a shit. I just got out, got a cab, somehow managed to leak only a little till I reached metro, and then throughout the movie I just shat outside. Not sat outside the movie, but I shat outside the movie.
But the movie wasn't great either. It was shit if you look at it.
It was terrible.
Yeah, so it's okay.
But it's a good memory. That's my memory of Avatar. Yeah.
What's your favorite Avatar memory, listeners? Let us know. I don't think they can top this.
Yeah.
But let's come back to Looking. You recommended that when we started off this conversation.
Amazing. Yeah. I saw Looking a while ago, so I don't remember a lot of it, but I remember it... it sort of resounded. Is that the word? It sort of really I don't know what sort of a bell it rung, but something that queer as folk never managed to do. It was never about quick. I guess I was in a relationship then while I was watching Looking. Me and my partner then were both oh, let's try open relationship, but both wanted to see who makes the first move so we can have the upper hand and be like, haha, you fucked this relationship up. Yeah. And I think that was the first episode itself of Looking, and I thought it took great giant leaps in terms of what we really go through as overweight, as people who have passion but procrastinate. And that was one storyline. It was about a guy who's trying to be a chef, who wants to have his own restaurant, and he doesn't. And that particular story rung with me a lot because this is something I've faced a lot sometimes. I feel, and it's something a lot of my friends even say, oh, you know what, I should just get a sugar daddy. I should just fucking get a sugar daddy. I don't have to go through this fucking drill of life and and in that show, he constantly questions himself because I recently was really into a 50-year-old man. And the thing is, he happened to be rich. I wasn't into him because he was rich, but I found him, he was a divorcee, has 2 kids. I found that so layered as a person to get into a relationship with, because I thought it would be so much, it would be fresh, right? I'm dating someone who has kids, who's been through the whole fucking drill about being closeted, being out now, everything. And that was there in the show. And I really, again, I felt that's a sign of a good show or a movie when they somehow manage to carve out a character who you feel wow, this guy is really looking into my brain and doing this. And that was one of the big reasons I liked Looking. Again, it wasn't explicit sex. Yeah, there was sex because HBO. But it wasn't it never felt like Game of Thrones, where you feel oh God, now they just have to have a sex scene because it will be discussed or tweeted about.
Satisfy all demographics.
Yeah, gay baiting, which we live in the times of gay baiting, and a lot of times I feel shows try to do that. And then for me, I always try to look for shows that are not about the person being gay. That's not the main reason this person has been put in the show, but the things that happen to them because they are gay, or everything else around them.
So that was Looking. Please check it out, guys. We are trying to do this where everybody gets to learn about more.
Amazing. You'll learn about drugs, you'll learn about everything.
And about the back alleys of Mahim. So do check it out, and we'll be back next time with a new recommendation. Thank you so much. This is Keeping It Queer. Say bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Well, if you enjoyed the show, you can listen to more of it on any of the podcasting apps you like. You can look out for us on Audio Boom, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, Beyond Pod. But if you're looking for us on the iTunes India store, you might have a bit of a trouble finding us because of the language used on the show. So be sure to change your location and then listen to us. For now, it's me, Navin Narona, signing off. Goodbye. Thank you so much. And please continue keeping it queer.
As you can see, we have a podcast listener in his natural habitat. Millions of years of evolution have led him to this point. He's on his way to work, and listening to podcasts makes his miserable day better. He will now head to work and use all his knowledge to communicate with other colleagues and possibly future mates. You can find more of his species on ivmpodcasts.com, your one-stop destination where you can check out all the coolest Indian podcasts. Happy listening.